Ari Lewis Show.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Ari Lewis Show here on Israel Sports and News Radio. Thank you for joining us. The email is arilewishow@hotmail.com, and you can email the station Israel Sports and News Radio at gmail.com. What is the latest in the world of Israel baseball? On the line right now, the National Director of Israel Baseball. Back to the program, the king of Jewish baseball, Nate Fish. Nate, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me, as always.
Yes, indeed. So let's first talk about the practice that you just completed. Tell us a bit about what are the players, what they're training for, and some of the things coming up in the next few weeks.
Sure. I'm a little out of breath and on the field still because we just wrapped our sport tie practice. So we currently have 4 guys that are serving in the IDF who have special status as elite athletes. So part of their national service is playing baseball. So they have something like a limited military service, and they're free in the afternoons to train, and they get about 90 days off a year to travel for competitions. So every Monday afternoon I have a workout with those 4 guys, and we would love to expand that program next year. We got 3 guys coming up the pipeline that are going to be applying for sportai status in the military next year.
What are your thoughts about that? Because time and time again people will come up to me and they say, hey Ari, what do you think is the number one thing holding back the sports world in Israel from getting bigger and bigger? And I say, well, it doesn't really help that 18-year-olds have to put their careers on hold for 3 years to do the military, especially that's an ample time to really learn your craft. So do you expect to see more and more sport exemptions? Do you think that's better for the sporting world? And give us your thoughts in general about it.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see more of our guys get that status and stay in the program. It really hurts to work on developing a guy for 4 or 5 years from the time he's 12 or 13 years old, and then you got to say goodbye to him for 3 years and hope he comes back as a 21-year-old to start playing again. So I would love to see more guys coming in, but at the same time, you know, we want the guys to do whatever's best for them. So if it's best for them overall, sort of long-term, to serve in the military, then we encourage them to do that. If we think it's the best thing for them to, you know, continue playing baseball and develop for 3 more years playing baseball and maybe try and go as an incoming freshman as a 21-year-old to a college in the States, then we encourage them to do that. So we try and look at the big picture a little bit. But, man, I would love for all our guys to be able to play between 18 and 21.
Tell our audience, what exactly has to happen for a person to get a sports exception? Do they have to play at a certain level of baseball to get that exception, or can anyone get it as long as they will show that they're going to play baseball during that time?
Yeah, they need to be on the national team, first of all. And second of all, they need to get recommendations from national team coaches. So those are essentially the requirements. They need to be in your national team program, get recommendations, and be active in your program.
All right, again, we're joined by Nate Fish, king of Jewish baseball, also Israel Baseball National Director. Talk a bit about this time of the year, because a lot of this time, December, January, it's a lot of preparation time. So give us kind of the daily routine, what goes on in the winter here of Israel baseball.
Sure. We pretty much keep rolling through the winter. We have a lot of challenges in Israel when it comes to baseball, but one of the advantages we have is the weather is just good enough for these winter months that we can continue practicing. We kind of shift gears a little bit with our players and do more conditioning stuff because they're out of season right now, so we'll probably be doing less throwing and more hitting, stuff like that. So we sort of shift gears a little bit, but we're able to keep practicing outside, which is great for us. A lot of the other countries in Europe are stuck indoors until, April. So by the time the spring tournaments roll around, we've already been outside for months, and for a lot of those other European teams, it may be their first time out on the field. So that's one little edge that we get with Israel baseball.
Yeah, it's a nice little advantage because there are obviously some disadvantages. But what I'm curious about, we talk about winter baseball. From Arizona, we saw fall ball every year. That was a nice treat. Florida gets it, but a lot of places are too cold. Would you envision, I know Peter Kurz is talking about this, about getting more and more prospects to come to Israel during the winter to play baseball. I want to know if those thoughts have continued, if that's going to happen in the near future, the long future. It's something I personally would be excited to see, so tell us your thoughts about it.
Yeah, we could essentially run a winter league for Europe. So what a lot of pro players, when they're young, like minor league guys do, is they go to the Dominican or Australia or Colombia or other leagues that they run around South America for winter ball. It's a little far away for European players, and Europe is not quite up to that level yet. So we could be like a feasible winter league for Europe. As the level in Europe in general keeps going up, and you start to see pro Euro leagues pop up here and there. So we could be a winter ball option for pro European players, which would be great.
What kind of steps? What has to happen exactly? Do you reach out to European baseball and see if they're interested? Do you try to sell them on what you can offer them, and they try to sell you on what they can offer you? How does the negotiation, if you will, work about it?
Yeah, I mean, there's good leagues, and Italy has a good pro league. Germany's got a pretty good league. Holland has a pretty good league, and then just a step down from those three leagues are, France, Spain, places like that. So we'd have to partner with, if there's essentially a Champions League for baseball, for the best teams from Germany, best teams from Holland and Italy. If they're playing in a Euro league, we would probably have to partner with them to create the winter league for guys to come here and train and practice and play. So it would definitely need to be a partnership with some of the bigger baseball clubs and the pro leagues in Europe.
Again, we're speaking with Nate Fish, King of Jewish Baseball, also the National Director for Israel Baseball. And, Nate, one of the things I want to ask you as far as recruiting during this time, since there are less games, but there's more conditioning, more practices. I know you're recruiting all year long. I mean, I don't want to sell anyone differently on that. But do you recruit extra now that you have maybe a little more time to do so?
Yeah, I mean, we're always looking over lists of Jewish players from colleges and professional baseball teams in the States. We're starting a program January 25th, 2016, so just about a month and a half from now, where, former high school, college, pro baseball players from the States come here for 5 months to coach our youth teams and play in the Premier League. So we're reaching out big time to, college coaches, going over those lists, sending guys emails, trying to get in touch with guys that we think maybe are candidates. And we'll see what kind of a group. We've got 27 applications for that already, which is a good start. We'd love to have a group of, between 5 and 10 really good players over here to sort of boost up the level of play in the Premier League and the level of coaching for some of our youth teams.
And let's talk real quickly the World Baseball Classic. I believe that'll be next year, and you were part of that in 2012. And what's interesting, at the time I broadcast some of the games for the WBC for Israel, and you see the players there that end up going to the majors and making significant contributions, to A's and to the Mets. The Mets won the World Series this year. So I guess two-part question. First, do you ever have time to watch Major League games throughout the year and go, oh, I know that guy, or happy he's a member of the tribe, he's representing us, etc.? And part two, what's Israel Baseball going to do for the next year in regards to the WBC?
Yeah, I always, am excited to see when, former teammates or friends or guys that I know are popping up in the major leagues, and I try and keep track of them and support them as much as possible. I don't get much chance to watch Major League Baseball games. I do try and catch some playoff games, but it means waking up at about 4 in the morning. So if you want to wake up and watch a playoff game, it can throw your schedule off for the whole rest of the week.
Yep.
You kind of sacrifice the next day. And as far as the 2016 World Baseball Classic qualifier, we're starting to put that team together now with the coaching staff. Like I said before, go over lists, see who's available, and try and put together a good team. We're going to be playing in September 22nd to the 25th in Brooklyn at the Brooklyn Cyclone Stadium against Pakistan, Brazil, and Great Britain. So it's a good group, and we're just trying to see who's out there and put together the best team of minor league guys, maybe some retired major league players, and looking over those college lists also.
So who makes the ultimate decision of who's going to make that team? How much are you part of that decision? And is it like a few people that make it together? Is there a final guy who says he will be on the team, he will not, etc.? How does that process work?
Well, the manager has a lot to do with it, but essentially it's the coaching staff and the general manager. Peter Kurz, who's the president of the IAB, who you mentioned before, is also the GM for Team Israel for the World Baseball Classic. So he's involved, and the whole coaching staff sort of works together to comb through these lists, and talk every once in a while. I'll be on the coaching staff this time around. No more. I'm phasing out the playing part of of my life, sort of transitioning more into coaching. So I'll be on the coaching staff for that tournament, and it's a pretty big staff. You're allowed to have, I think it's 7 coaches, so there's quite a few people involved.
Do you ever, when you're on you're in the dugout and you're not going to play, is that hard for you to kind of do you use body language, basically try to move balls, with your mind and try to do Jedi mind tricks and all that kind of stuff? You could be honest.
You there? Sorry, you cut out for a second. I didn't hear that last question.
No problem. Basically, when you're in the dugout, and you're not going to be playing, do you try to use Jedi mind tricks to kind of move the ball around, like AK, Carlton Fisk when he hit the home run ball in the World Series? Because you're not physically playing, but you want to have an influence, obviously. So when the play's actually happening, not the coaching part, but what's actually happening, do you kind of shift places in your seat or do any good look charms or anything like that?
Try and have as little body language as possible, right? You stay pretty stoic throughout the game. Don't get too excited when something good happens. Don't get too pissed off when something bad happens. But yeah, in your mind, you're always sort of anticipating. If you spend enough time around the game and the different players on the field and their patterns and stuff, you kind of have a little bit of a feel for what might happen. Or you might get a feeling that a guy's going to hit a home run or something like that. So yeah, there's a little. You're playing mind games the whole time, but you try and not show it too much with the body language.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. I'm basically Arizona Diamondbacks fan. I mean, the St. Louis Cardinals are number 1, but the Diamondbacks are number 2. And Randy Johnson's perfect game in 2004, nobody moved. I mean, they sat, didn't make any expressions because they didn't want to jinx anything. Again, we're joined by Nate Fish, King of Jewish Baseball, and also the National Director for Israel Baseball, talking right now a little bit about the WBC. Brad Ausmus, of course, was the manager last time around, and that was before he became manager of the Detroit Tigers. So there could be some good luck, good mazal for the guy who is going to be the manager for the WBC next year, right?
Yeah, it's a big-time tournament, if you go out there and, manage one of the teams, or as a player, if you have a big tournament, some people are going to notice. So, yeah, it's good for the players. They'll definitely, and the coaches, they'll get opportunities based on their performance there,
Yeah, we saw Ike Thaler. I mean, a bunch of players from that tournament went on to the Major League, so good stuff there. Last question I want to ask you. We know that Howie's Yortzeit is coming up. I'm not sure the exact date. Just want to know I'm sure Israel Baseball will do something for him. If you can give us any particular details, or you guys have any plans at this time. We of course love Howie and miss him dearly.
Yeah, we got the Howie second annual Junior League All-Star event coming up on Sunday the 13th. So we named that event after him. It's a big event for us. We do youth skills competitions all day, so a lot of our youth players are out on the field. And then we have our Junior League All-Star game. So that's our best U16 players from our U16 league around the country. It's 3 guys from each team coming together. And, we'll be out there. We'll light the Hanukkah candles, and I'm sure, I know I'll be thinking about Howie. I'm sure a lot of other people will be too.
Absolutely. I'm included in that group. Definitely love Howie. Still, miss him. We still miss everything about him. And he contributed so much to Israel baseball, and we hope the contributions, continue through his scholarship fund, through people playing in his memory and his name. So we want to see that continue. And, Nate, great to have you on, as always. Good stuff with Israel baseball. It should continue. We know you're very busy, and we're able to get this interview right after a practice, so we appreciate that. And thanks for coming on. Great job. And before we go, anyone out there listening, if they want to get involved in some way, how should they go about doing that?
Best way is probably to like the IAB, Israel Association of Baseball, on Facebook. Check out our website, www.baseball.org.il. Or just check really any social media, hashtag Israel Baseball.
All right, great stuff. This is another episode of the Ari Lewis Show on Israel Sports and News Radio, joined by Nate Fish, King of Jewish Baseball and the National Director for IBA. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Be well, God bless, and stay safe. Shalom from Israel.